imagery collection so that literally you could see the film come together every week on a sequence-by-sequence basis. We designed the app in conjunction with a internet Facebook marketing partner called Noise New York, and then we had it developed and supported through an Israeli web developer and animation company called Animal. But it all lives and is still live as a Facebook app. The Facebook app pipeline was the big public virtual component. Once your shot was selected and you got a chance to actually participate in the final film, we plugged into the real effects pipeline, and then I worked with the animators for a month to refine their shots. And a key component of us being able to do this was that we had both the Facebook pipeline and the real effects pipeline. And Kyle, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, when Yair brought this project to us, it fit very well with just kind of our general philosophy about creating content. So unlike a lot of the major studios in Los Angeles that have a lot of access to talent, when Real Effects started back 15 years ago in Dallas, Texas, the market for digital artists was relatively small, and we've kind of grown the studio based on the premise that if we can engage the right talent, no matter where they are, then we need to provide a vehicle to engage them in our shows. We wanted to kind of look past the four walls that we were in and find the best people and allow them to contribute. So we built and refined this piece of software that Yair mentioned called Insight to actually reach out into the community. And we built a lot of ways to do remote reviews and online reviews and video reviews and notes and assignments of tasks and visibility of the project. And really our jobs, very similar to the way Mass Animation runs, all of our jobs, live in this online, accessible database, and we can monitor our shows from anywhere.
It will be available for download on iTunes and on mobile platforms, and we will also be streaming concurrent with our theatrical release. So on November 20th, you'll be able to text live music to 69937 and download it. You'll be able to go to iTunes and download it, and we will have a mass stream on the Autodesk. We opened up was layout, animation, and camera. So basically what we said is, here's the script, you get to play the lead.
Yep.
And we let the animators decide where the character was set in the scene, how the character moved and acted in the scene, and where the camera moved and acted in relation to that. And so what we gave them was fully edited boards with audio, and they animated based on that.
But they also had a fair bit of license within that, right? They and some of their creativity actually ended up in the final film, which I think was really cool.
Absolutely. There are several nuances in the performance, and I'll give you one specific example. When Riff, our hero, goes back and his two buddies are making fun of him, and the drum set tips his two cymbals and pretends to have them kissing, that was a submission from a woman in the UK. That was not something we had boarded. All we had was Riff coming back and his friends playing Here Comes the Bride to make fun of him, and she basically came up with that shot and animated it and submitted it, and obviously she got picked.
Yeah, and I get the whole Romeo and Juliet theme, so that's really cool.
In traditional filmmaking, that if you don't move to LA, you basically can't make a living.
So the question is this really the opening the doors for the amateurs as an open market, or are the pros positions really being threatened now with this? You have a global workforce that's willing to work for you for a few $100s on a laptop. How does this change the economy of your industries?
I don't think it's going to dramatically change the economy of the industry on that level. I mean, we had people working on 100 shots, and the guy who actually submitted 10 shots got paid $5,000. Okay, so his actual payment, and I will say, we had a freelance artist from Chicago who had 4 shots. We had a very specific conversation with him about, so how'd you feel about your work and your time alone? And he said, look, this isn't the highest paying job I've ever taken, but it's far from the lowest paying job I've ever taken. And he actually did a per hour amortization of his work and basically said, I got to work on a higher quality project, I got paid a fair price on a per hour basis. And so I think we're a middle ground. Now, that's because we invested a lot of time and effort up front. I don't think this is something that's easily replicatable without that level of investment on our part to set it up.
Okay. Kyle, John, you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, I think the genie is out of the bottle, so to speak. I think, technology is empowering artists around the world to be able to create and collaborate in ways that they've never been able to do before. And I think in many respects, it's going to change paradigms as it has with some industries already. And I think that, while it certainly isn't going to replace professional animation houses and things like that, I think the empowering of technology, empowering of creative people with more and more powerful technology isn't something that we should be afraid of or ashamed of.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I was going to go as well, is that I think that what it does is it really is going to actually strengthen the quality of the artist. It's going to strengthen the quality of the content, because more and more people are going to have accessibility to technology. Opportunities like this allow them to participate and learn and grow. And so, from my perspective, and again, I was a professional animator for many years. To me, it's got to be about the best idea. It's got to be about the best artist, right? And so, this is healthy. I think it forces people into the industry that may not have ever had a chance because they lived, across the world, or 10 years ago the technology was so expensive that they couldn't participate.
The funnel for the talent pool is basically opening up.
And I think that's healthy. You got to continue to up the standards from a quality perspective, and this is helping do it.
I think that, again, going back to the first industry that got hit with the socialization is certainly the journalists versus bloggers. And what we see now, and that was about 5 years ago that happened, is almost every journalist now also has a blog or writes on a blog. So do you think we could expect the Pixars of the world to actually start to crowdsource some of these types of, or curate some of those types of content? And if so, when would that happen? Or are they just hung up on their Premiere brand?
I think they have earned the Premiere brand. And I think that, I think that there is a lot to be said for managing a specific group of people who you've been working with for 10, 20 years and having that be the specific product you make. I also, though, am a believer that global input results in higher quality output. And so, I think that, when I first started in animation, there wasn't anybody other than Disney making animation. And we're now in an era where every major studio makes animation and people make animation all over the world. And what this is essentially a step towards more high-quality animation being sourced worldwide.